Welcome to Paul Crimi's World of Art, and we're doing a black and white painting today of California coast. It's part of a series I'm working on of different places that I love to see, Maine and black and white and all the different places. So this is going to be this particular painting, the coast of California. All right, I'll put it up here. I never paint a painting like a photograph. I paint a painting from a photograph with personality. So what we're going to do is we'll start with the sky, and then we're going to work our way around. I have black, white, gray, and white, dark white. So I have 3 or 4 colors, no color at all. So I'm kind of mixing them up a little here. And then we're going to go like this. I'm going to make it a lot lighter. I just got to start. Get a nice fat brush. I probably have 100 brushes. People say, why do you have so many brushes? Well, you know, when you do all these years. And I have a friend in Germany who has a friend in China. I know, I didn't like that idea because of China, but he has a friend in China that sends me tons of brushes all the time. She wants to, I think, they're trying to get me to have my name on the brushes, I think, eventually, when I get more famous. Now, fame is a joke. It's an illusion. It's the work that makes the difference in the artist. So I keep going over this until I'm happy with where I'm going, and then I'll dry it and we'll see how we do the lower part. This might happen really fast, but because I've been painting black and white my whole life. I started painting black and white when I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old. Pen and ink stuff, linoleum cuts, and I loved black and white. In fact, when I went to the museum school as a youngster, 12 years old, and I brought my portfolio, the dean of the school said, who taught you how to do these things with the black and white? And I said, myself. I just kept working on stuff. He says, well, how many of these things do you have? I said, a couple of hundred. He says, you've done a couple of hundred pieces of art? I says, yeah. And you're 12 years old? And I says, yeah. He says, you can come to the museum school. And don't tell anybody how old you are. It's okay. I'll do that. I'll tell you, it was an experience I never forgot. I loved it. Of course, I was 5'8". You know, and I weighed 127 pounds. I weighed 127 pounds when I graduated from high school. The only time I had any weight in my whole body is when I got out of the Marine Corps. I was 100, out of Paris Island. I went from 128 to 169 or 163, somewhere in that area. So I'm going to take out some of the paint in this, dry it up a little. What I love about using the blower is it shows you the different colors of the gray as I'm drying it. And I get excited, as I say, it's coming up in different, instead of just being all white like the bottom part, it has different shades. So it has different movement. I love it. This particular photograph has a lot of black in it, but that's all right. because I'm going to put a lot of black in it. Going to do what this painting, what this photograph is. So in this corner, right here, the water level is down here, the middle ground is here. So we're going to put this right about here. It's not going to stay this black, I promise. This is a sketch part of the painting. And then it gets better as you get better at it. A painting isn't a painting unless you've painted it a whole bunch of times. You keep painting it and you keep painting it and it'll get better and better. I had a friend of mine who I liked very much, and he loved my paintings. His wife bought a bunch of my paintings, in fact. And he said, I want to paint, Paul. How long will it take me to learn how to paint like you? And I said, the first 1,000 paintings give you a beginning. The second 1,000 paintings give you courage. And the third 1,000 pictures makes you an artist. The big black rock right here. It's in the paintings and the little tiny rocks here. We're going to get it. Stay still here. I thought I had it tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the water's edge. I need the bigger brush. That brush is a little too tender. Go a little stronger. See how a painting takes place? I mean, you're looking at it right now and you say, wow, how did he get there that fast? Hey, I'm 77 years old. I've been painting since I was 5. I always got there. Drove the teachers crazy in art school, drove the teachers crazy in high school, junior high, grammar school. You know, I was one of those kids. I said to my father, every time I do something, it disappears. I don't know what happens. And my father says, hey, whatever you do, they must like it because they're taking it away from you. That happened to me every art school, every class, every teacher. Got to the point, I said, God. I mean, I took a class, the last class I took in the museum school was pottery. I never did pottery. And I didn't like using the wheel. I hated it. So I did handmade. And they were all making fun of me, all of the students, even the teacher. He says, you don't do the wheel. And I says, no, it makes me dizzy and I get sick and I don't feel comfortable. And he says, you get it. If you keep doing it, you'll get it. And I said, I haven't got it yet. And I've been trying for 3 weeks. So I decided that I wasn't going to use the wheel. I was going to hand make the pottery myself with my own idea and my own feeling. And he says, well, who taught you all of that? He says, nobody. I just decided that's what I was going to do, and I'm going to do it. And he said, well, we'll see. If you don't do a good job, you won't get a good mark and a good grade. And I said, hey, I'll do a good job. And when it came time to go pick them up after they dried, like there was 14 of them, there was like 5 or 6 of them gone. And I said, what happened to these little statues that I made and vases and stuff? So the dean came in and said, "Oh, I love this. Who did this?" And I said, "Paul Crimi." He says, "Oh, I love his stuff." And he helped himself. Everybody helped themselves. This is starting to have some movement now, some nice stuff. Let's step back a little. These big rocks cover them up a little. See, you would look at this painting and a person would say, it almost looks like a minimalist. And I says, a painting is a painting. It all has its own personality. And the more you paint, the more the personality of the painting comes out. I want to put a little action in the sky, so I'm going to put some dark colors in the sky. And then I put white on top of it. And I scrub it around a little. You know, I spent a whole couple of years painting nothing but clouds. And every one of them that I painted, I sold. I don't have any of that from that series. And my wife says, "Are you ever going to stop painting clouds? That's all you're doing is painting clouds." And I said, "Yeah, because every time I paint them, somebody buys them." And she got the biggest kick out of that. She says, "Yeah, but you can't spend your whole life painting clouds." I says, "Oh, clouds are beautiful, skies are beautiful." So you see how that's softened up and the water's softened? So because I got the sky a little lighter, a little more personality, I'll put some more in the water. I want it to be a little darker in the side right here because of the sand. And then we'll take the blower and we'll start. So I used the photograph as a stepping stone, but I didn't use the photograph as the complete image of what I want to do. I only used it as one second. I only used the photograph to start with to help get my mind in a place. And once I've got my mind in a place, then I let the painting become what I want it to become. No longer the photograph. I'll step back a little and I'll say to myself, wow, is this starting to show up as a beautiful painting? And it starts to when I get going. If you're going to paint a painting and you want to do something black and white, you know, do a whole bunch, get yourself a big book of paper at Michael's and decide that you're going to do the whole entire book of paintings. And then after you've done that whole book, like 30 or 40 pen and inks or watercolors or acrylic, then it starts to speak to you. Then get a canvas. they have some canvases that are on sale. You can get 5 canvases for nothing almost, and then that's what I'm using on these. These canvases aren't the best canvases in the world, but I always treat them like they're the best. I mean, people said, well, how did you get the money to do all this art as a kid? Well, I had a paper route. God. I mean, I lived in West Quincy, and I had about 150, maybe 200 customers. And every time somebody gave up their little section, my brothers and I took it over. They called us the Crimi Mafia. We had all of the West Quincy area. And by the time I got to be 14 or 15, I had 300 customers. Christmas time, I made $700. People would give me $5 or $2, and I counted the money, and I said to my father, I got $700. And my father says, I'm going to become a paper boy. Yeah, my father was funny. Oh, God. I mean, as a kid, I used to work for the city, Quincy, shoveling snow when it had a bad storm. I'm one of those, I loved working and I loved shoveling snow. And I loved the guy that taught me how to shovel snow. One shovel goes one side, the other shovel goes on the other side. He says, your arms won't get tired, your legs won't get tired. And to this day, I shovel the driveway, and I'm 77. My son comes and plows it when it's really bad. He gets a little mad at me because I'm shoveling. And my wife's insane about it. She says, oh my God, don't you realize how old you are? And I says, age is a number, not a thing that you live by. God, if you take good care of yourself and you do the right things, you eat right, work out right, things get better. Yeah. At 77, I got a job at Home Depot as the greeter at the door. You know, I mean, I'm kind of bumbly, stumbly kind of guy, but I was like that even when I was a kid. Oh, drove my parents crazy, especially my mother. She was a fanatic. So it's starting to have some personality. I want to step back a little and take a look. This is the sand. So I have this grayish white, and I always think it looks like sand. If you just wipe a little here. And then put a little white on top of it, and really looks like sand. To me it does. I don't know about to you. I'm not going to force anything on anybody. What they see and what they feel, this. Sometimes you want it to have a little more strength. Don't be afraid to use black. I had a friend of mine who was an artist, and she never once in her life used black ink, paint. I said, God, what's wrong with you? But that was her attitude. And she was a teacher, and she taught at Rockland High, and she was a good friend of mine. And she said, how can you put black in a painting? I said, because I like black. I was a printmaker, and most of my stuff was pen and ink and black ink. And I just never got over it. And she couldn't get over it either. Oh my God. Let's put some rocks in, little tiny rocks. all these rocks and all that stuff and this touching of the canvas, that's the way Maine is. You go to Maine and all the beaches have a million rocks. Oh my God. I have done some paintings. I got one right there up on the wall up here. And it was when I saw that, the first time I saw it, I thought I was in Japan. I said, oh my God, look at that scene. I took a bunch of photographs of it and I painted it. And I worked on that forever because all of those little tiny rocks, that's all you do is touch the canvas and the rocks show up. Like this. And you keep throwing in darker, a little darker, and then real dark at the bottom. Let's put some water in this now. Get rid of that. Nothing's difficult. You know, if you just paint and just keep putting lines in and moving and pushing, and all of a sudden it starts to turn into a painting. Oh boy, I hit the black. Nice. Rescued. Never panic. Panicking doesn't help. Talking to yourself doesn't help. Doing helps. See if I can find one of my little brushes. Here they are. If you have a dark area and like this black down here and you throw a little dab here and there, it makes that whole section jump, and that's what you're looking for. You want to have a little movement. All right, so I'm going to go back to the bigger one, put some more water in. Then I'm going to put a couple of seagulls in this. I didn't have any in the other one, but I'm going to have it in this particular picture. All right, let me take a look. So if I'm painting this painting and I'm in my studio, I would go sit across the room and sit down and stare at this thing for about a half an hour, 40 minutes, and say to myself, well, is it working? Does it look like it's working? And my favorite brush is my thumb. Let's see if we can put a seagull here. Or two, or one. I want to fix this other section. I'm not too crazy about it, just a little. Everything you do in a painting has a purpose. It makes it work or it doesn't work. All right, almost done. Just to give it some movement, some lines, these little going across the canvas makes it feel like it's coming in, the water, the tide. All right, I think we're gonna call it a day. People tell me I do a great job with rocks. You know, rocks are easy. It's your mind that's not easy. You got to learn that you keep looking at what's going on and what it's going to do. It has all of this different stuff, you know, and all of that stuff. You can even go like this. Let me get that. Because it has all of this gray and you want it to have something going on, you can go like this. You can't ruin the painting. You can't. You're just adding to it, putting more water in it. It gets too crazy down there. Nice. Done. I'm going to stop for a while and take a look. I like it. I think it has nice feeling. It can be a little touchy here and there where you take little tiny brushes and you do some of this. I think you can overdo it by trying to make it look more realistic. So I'm not too keen on all of the photographic image kind of thing. I get to the picture, I look at it, I have an idea of what I want to do, and then after that, the picture goes away, the camera becomes not the most important thing, and then you just keep touching the canvas, keep looking for spots, moving it around so that it starts to take on a shape. I love what's going on in here now. Love it. And you know the hardest part when you're an artist is knowing it's done. I had a friend of mine, I used to ask him all the time, do you think it looks done? And he'd say, well, are you working on it? And I said, no, then it's done. You know, friends are the best thing in the world. They'll tell you the truth, or they'll cheer you up, or they'll tear you down. So you got to get good friends. People who like you. They'll tell you the truth. All right. So here, we did a show for the world of art with Paul Crimi, with a great photographer and a great helper, and my friend Kevin. And I love doing this show because I want you to see how it is to paint free from your soul, from your being, looking at nothing, just moving stuff around. As you look at this, the stronger it gets. We're too close to this. If I'm on the other side of the room and I look at it, then I see all of the perfection in the painting. Where it's like this, it's when you're right on top of it, sometimes you lose it. You can't figure out what's going on. You get caught up in it, and you start doing this, and you start doing that, and you lose it. I don't lose paintings anymore because I know when it's time to stop and go sit down and look. And if you sat down and looked for a while, it sort of calms you down and it makes you take a look at what's going on. I think it's kind of neat. It's just a little sketch, but it's neat. It's got its personality. It tells a story. I mean, I'm going to see a face right here. It's something, I have to watch out for some of the stuff that I see. I'm always seeing different stuff in my paintings and it cracks me up. the water on the rocks. So thank you very much. God bless and good day.